You're listening to the City Podcast. Unadulterated, non-politically correct, unfiltered, real talk. The city from the inside out. With your hosts, Chad Cranston and Steve Nealing.
This is the City Podcast. You can catch us at the City Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and on Facebook. Anytime, 24 hours, 7 days a week.
Any questions, DM through Instagram.
Yeah, just DM. It's fine. Emails.
He loves it when he gets some DMs.
I get a lot of DMs.
Slide on in.
Yeah, I got
Loves
them
getting
sliding
third base.
The DMs.
And our guest this week is...
We have Mr. Olympian himself, Adam van Koeverden.
It's me.
That's a pretty big deal to be... How many times have you been to the Olympics?
As an athlete, I went 4 times.
4?
Going to my 3rd as a non-athlete. This will be my 7th, Pyeongchang, South Korea in February.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
7.
7th. Like,
At 35 years of age.
yeah. But no, I only competed at 4, right? And I went to Vancouver because I was on the board of directors of the COC. Yeah. And then I went to Sochi because I was a member of the broadcast team. And I'm headed to Pyeongchang because I filmed and produced and hosted this little athlete feature for CBC. Making it sound like I'm a one-man team. I'm not. I got a great team, but...
Well, CBC's behind you. It's obviously something going on.
Yeah.
So you know a bit about having to speak up a bit so the mic can pick you up?
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. Let's hear your bass.
Here we are. Did I just turn the mic off?
So I think what we were talking earlier about you enjoying the alcoholic beverages and the magic wonders of weed, it's kind of like, I guess, now you've kind of broken free of those chains. It's kind of like a teenager getting his first apartment kind of deal.
I didn't get an apartment when I was a teenager. But yeah, you live under a lot of rules as an athlete, as an Olympian. There's a lot of regulations.
They're there for a reason, right?
Yeah, a little bit. I suppose we got to follow the rules, right? You know, I didn't mind doing the randomized drug testing. I wasn't doing any drugs, and I liked the opportunity to prove it. You know, when you do a drug test and everything comes back negative.
That's the weird thing about weed. It lasts for, I think, a month or 2 months.
Is this just for a month?
I think.
Yeah, who cares though, right?
Yeah,
if nobody's coming to your house to get your pee and urine, then you don't have to worry about it.
No, I'm curious about that because you could do cocaine and it's gone in a couple of days.
Really?
For
wouldn't
drug
know.
testing. No, I'm just saying it's the lighter drugs on the market,
Huh.
and it lingers the longest, which is
Get shrooms too.
pretty quick.
They can test your hair. Though.
Yeah,
They
right,
can
it's
test
true.
your hair.
Is that what they did with you? So what was the drug testing like, actually?
No, drug test, they wouldn't test your hair. They only test your blood and urine.
So did you ever use a fake dick?
No, never used a fake dick for anything, personally. But I don't judge, though. I mean, no, I didn't ever have to cheat to win. I didn't ever want to. I just wanted to see how fast I could go on my own and not have to, worry about the moral struggle of whatever.
So were you competing against others, or were you competing against yourself when you were in competition?
Always competing against others. I'd race either 9 or 8 lanes. So it was like a swimming race or a rowing race.
No, but in your mind, were you competing against yourself?
Yeah, I mean, shit, there's 8 or 7 other guys on the line every time, so that's impossible to ignore. And I did care about my placing. It's the extrinsic factor. The intrinsic factor is, did I feel good? Do I feel good about my competition? Am I feeling good about my fitness and everything? But yeah, certainly both factor into it. But at the end of the day, what everybody wants to know is, like, what color's your medal?
So what were you competing in? We're just assuming that nobody knows anything about you.
Yeah, I know. Right? Sure, shit. I'm a kayaker. I was a kayaker. I went to 4 Olympics in kayaking. I raced what's called a K1, which is a single kayak, and I like to acknowledge at this time in the vein of truth and reconciliation that I was able to make a name for myself here and abroad in a kayak, which is an Inuit invention, and it's pretty cool that that boat exists. It was like 35 or 4,000 years ago. That kayak the boat was invented for like reasons of for hunting and survival. Yeah, to thrive in an environment like that, you needed a transportation method. And
so that was created in North America or in Canada in specific?
Well, that's the thing. It's like a tenuous thing to say it was invented in Canada because it was like many thousands of years before Canada existed, and it's still a bit contentious as to whether or not our indigenous or the indigenous people in Canada should be referred to as ours or as Canadian indigenous people, right? Because they were here long before we were. So it's it's an issue that you want to sort of tread lightly on, at least ask what people appreciate, sort of like pronouns these days, right? It's it's just sensitivities that we want to acknowledge.
We're not the best at it, so it's great that you're able to correct that.
No, I'm not correcting. I'm just saying I like to acknowledge that the kayak is an Inuit invention, and I feel very fortunate that I was able to use the boat for so many years as a professional athlete.
So let's kick back a little bit. tell us about the history about Adam. Was this the first sport that you wanted to hit?
No, it was not the first sport. I wanted to be an athlete, just like every young boy wants to be an athlete. I watched a lot of basketball on TV. I was a big Chicago Bulls fan before we got the Raptors in Toronto. I was a fan of Michael Jordan, so I wanted to play basketball, but I didn't make the basketball team because I wasn't any good at basketball. So I thought I'd settle for volleyball, and I didn't make the volleyball team either. So I tried soccer, and I tried hockey. I tried all the sports, but I'm not a good athlete. I was not good enough at any of those sports. Chad's played soccer with me. I'm pretty fucking average when it comes to most sports.
Bad, so, not bad.
Oh, thanks. That's very nice. I can run.
Yeah.
Fucking run. I can run.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Chad.
Did
I
you
can
score
run.
a goal? You scored
Maybe one.
I think you
maybe I was in
a
the
couple goals too.
Okay, maybe I maybe
So
an assist or two,
the
but
highlight reel for your soccer careers is not as extravagant as it is in the kayaking world.
needless to say,
Yeah.
that my kayaking career supersedes anything else I've ever done in sport or probably anything else.
How
But
did you end up in that?
yeah, so there's an ad in the local newspaper in Oakville, the Oakville Beaver. It said "Future Champions Wanted," and that was run in September 1995. And I'm sitting on the carpet. I'm like 13 years old, reading some other part of the newspaper, and my mom looks at me and she goes, "Have you ever tried kayaking?" And I tried kayaking at summer camps. I was like, and I was like a good enough kid that I would do what my mom said. Like I respected her and stuff. But she didn't say that I couldn't smoke pot. She didn't say that I couldn't, skateboard or graffiti. She didn't say that I couldn't like vandalize or whatever. And that's the kind of stuff that I was interested in as a 13-year-old. I was excited about like getting into trouble.
Normal.
Normal, but not great. Like, I wanted to push the boundaries. I wanted to see, can I steal that? Like, turns out, yes, I can steal that. Just because I wanted to test boundaries, right? It wasn't about the actual thing or whatever. It was just about being a bit of a badass or like just, wherever that urge comes from as a kid, I had it. So my mom saw a need for me to get involved in some kind of thing that was organized after school so that I wasn't just delinquent and running around town, like literally trying to get arrested. So she sent me down to the canoe club. I was 13 years old. It was 1995, and the first three people that I met when I walked through the door were Scott Oldershaw, Dean Oldershaw, and Larry Kane. There are three guys who each in their own way had a profound impact on my life. They all went to the Olympics, Dean in 1976 and 72 as well, and Scott went in 84, and so did Larry. He went in 84, and then also in 88 and 92. And Larry won 2 medals, and the other 2 guys coached me. Scott and Dean both coached me all the way up until 2016, until last year.
And what's the name of the club?
The Burloak Canoe Club.
It's quite a lineage there.
Yeah, man, we've got a long history.
Oakville, right?
That's in Oakville, yeah. It's kind of serves Burlington and Oakville. It was like an amalgamation of 2 canoe clubs in the late 80s. Mohawk Canoe Club, which is kind of a racist name for a canoe club in Burlington, and an Oakville Canoe Club, which is the name of the town, so they got away with it. Just like Mississauga Canoe Club is also kind of a racist name for a canoe club.
Like St. Catharines or?
No, there isn't any canoe clubs out that, or there is now, but there didn't used to be. Yeah, they row a lot in St. Catharines, so we'd compete against Mississauga Canoe Club primarily, and it's pretty close to the Burloak Canoe Club. It's just down the street, so they were like our main rivals. And there's a few other clubs in Toronto, the Balmy Beach Canoe Club and Richmond Hill Canoe Club, West Rouge Canoe Club. So yeah, there's stiff competition locally. So our little region was called the Western Ontario Division, and then we'd compete in that throughout the summer. Little local regattas, like each of those 4 or 5 clubs would have like a local regatta.
Yep.
We'd do that, and then we'd have a Western Ontario Division championship, usually in Welland. And then later in the summer, we'd have provincial championships. So everybody from Eastern Ontario would come as well. That's like North Bay, Ottawa, Kingston, wherever else. And then after that, we'd qualify for the nationals, and we'd go to like Nova Scotia, or when you went to Whistler or whatever. So it was like a progression. Yeah, well, that was the first sort of 5 years of my paddling was based like mostly in Canada.
It's pretty compact too, seasonal wise. You really have how many months to get?
Yeah, it's a summer sport, right? So the racing starts in sort of April or May.
As soon as the water is flowing, pretty much.
Yeah, we'd actually go to Florida in like February and March and get a head start, and then show up at the first race like ready to go. So
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was good. The best traveling that we did early on, and I mean, it was always to warm climes, right? Like it was to get off the water later, so we travel somewhere warm in the fall. Like I was just lamenting the other day that the sun's going down at like 4:30 now, and it's getting late, and it's getting early, and the sun doesn't come up until a little bit later, and it's cold now. And I would always be in like California or Florida, Australia, or anywhere that was warm, New Zealand or something like that. So
you guys would train in like Australia or New Zealand or something like that?
Yeah, not until later, right? Not until I was on the national team.
I was gonna say
actually not
local
until
level, that's pretty.
No. We would drive down to Florida. Like when I was like 17, 18, 19, we would just drive our boats on a roof down to Florida, and that was always our warm weather training camp. But it came later that we were able to go to like California and Australia and New Zealand. And
Is
stuff.
that something you can in Canada? You can get a university, like
Yeah.
you could do that in university.
Yeah, actually, the main reason. So anyway, my mom brought me down there, and I won't say that I fell in love with it. It wasn't like a love story. It was like, yeah, I can do this. I'm good at this. Finally, I got a sport that I'm like not just competent at, like I'm decent.
Put your energy into
I'm winning regattas, and like, you know, first time in my life, I'm like calling myself an athlete. And I was also training twice a day for the first time ever, and I came to the realization, like, holy shit, the reason I'm not good at basketball is because I never practice. Like, I'd go and shoot hoops, but I wouldn't like. I'd watch the Bulls, and I'd shoot hoops or play 21 or horse or whatever. But that's not basketball, right? Like, that's not the skills of basketball that are necessary to be a good basketball player. And the only ever time I played pickup was at school, but like, you know, we didn't have like a organized basketball, and we didn't have disorganized basketball where I was living. So that's why I just never really progressed, I suppose. And I was watching this video that Steve Nash posted today. He was this is when he was in the NBA. It was just a clip from like a game, and the ball was on the ground, and he like popped it up with his foot. He's a better soccer player than he was a basketball player, right? Popped it up, like spun around once with the left foot over to the right, spun around once with the right foot, and then up to his hands. Like it was nothing. Like it's not even a soccer ball, you know. So it's got to feel different. I mean, you probably played with a basketball in that way. Like I could never even dream of doing cool tricks like that, right? I just was never coordinated enough or anything like that. But kayaking is not a sport where it's about tricks. It's about doing the same thing over and over again, just perfectly, and like nailing a perfect forward stroke, and just working it out so that you can go faster for longer. And that's what I found. It's like this problem-solving thing rather than just like a trick. And not that Steve Nash is a good basketball player or a good soccer player because he's got tricks, but there's lots of maneuvers and skills and stuff that you could consider similar to tricks. So yeah, you asked about university. I got driven home by a national team guy named Nathan in like 1998. So I'm like 16, and it was in the national team truck. It was all like deckled out, like national canoe team. And we were talking about like his life, and he was coaching me a little bit then, and he said, "Yeah, I'm on the national team. It's good because we get free tuition." I didn't know that. I didn't know that national team athletes get free tuition.
In Canada or across North
Yeah,
America?
only in Canada. Yeah, any national team actually. If you're on the national swim team, then it's sort of like to prevent athletes from going down and getting scholarships and going to the States. But also, it's egalitarian in the sense that it's for every sport, not just swimming or track and field or whatever. Yeah, the ones where you can get a big scholarship. So there's no scholarships available for canoe kayak in North America anywhere.
So that worked out even bonus.
Yeah, I mean, if there was a scholarship available at Stanford, I would have gone after it, right? But there isn't. So I went inside to my mom. She's making dinner, and I said, "Oh, guess what? Nathan just told me if I make the national team before I'm 18, before I go off to school, then tuition's free." And she like literally stopped what she was doing. This is like single mom situation. Like I grew up in community housing. My mom's like, "Okay, here's the deal. Like, I'll drive you to practice every morning if that's what it's going to take. Like, what do you need to do in order to accomplish that?" And we already had a deal. Like, if I wanted to ride to morning practice, then I just have to knock on her door with a cup of coffee, hot coffee in my hand, and she'd drive me to practice. It was a good deal. It's a good deal. She's a good mom. But I realized that when she asked me to make a cup of coffee, she wasn't teaching me how to make coffee. She was teaching me to do my own shit for myself, like set my own alarm, pack my own bag, make myself some breakfast, get myself prepared for practice, and it was my thing. I just was not old enough.
Stirring about anyways and was awake.
Yeah, probably, right? But I was in charge of it then, right? She just said, like, I'm not going to set an alarm for you. I'm not going to wake you up. I'm not going to say, "Hey, it's practice time. Like, get up." She was not going to be a cheerleader mom. She was not going to be my coach. So she made me that deal, and then she made me another deal when I told her that university was free if I made the national team, and that was basically just like, yeah, I'll support you. I'm going to teach you how to do stuff rather than do it for you. But, you know, it came to like booking a flight to a race or whatever. She's like, "Here's the yellow pages. Look it up."
Cool.
Anyway.
It paid off in the long run, clearly.
Yeah, I got a university degree. It was paid for by Sport Canada, and it's on the national team. Phys ed, kinesiology at McMaster.
You have a master's now?
At McMaster, I don't have a master's.
Are you using
sadly.
it now?
I suppose. I think I used it in my career. Like I had a pretty good training ethic, and I had a pretty good.
That's one thing I've noticed about you over years. Your ethics for training has been impeccable, and you never really steered away from it.
No, I'm very critical of what people do, and I ask why a lot. And I think it's because I have an interest in training and in preparation. So I just want to focus on like what is going to work. And like we only have 24 hours in a day, right? And you can really only train for like 4 to 6 max. Like that's a big training day if you put in 6 hours. So like what's a waste of time and what's not, and what's going to contribute, and are you just going through the motions and spinning your wheels and not actually getting any traction? So a degree in kinesiology helped me identify like what those things were, I think.
Does that help you with your diet? Like, so what's
I was just going to ask, but
What?
is it a big jump going?
I think diet's more
46?
important now. I think diet's more important now than it's ever been for me.
Excuse me.
Now that I'm training like maybe 1 hour a day, like I just exercise now. It's not training, right? That's been a big difference for me in the last year. Is that like I don't have a reason to exercise for 4 hours a day. Like who does that? Unless you have a real goal.
Right.
You know.
Is your metabolism slowed down? Are you finding that your diet is 5,000 calories a day?
Yeah, exactly. I don't need 5,000 calories a day, so I eat less than I used to. But I still get hungry at the same time as I used to. So I've got to kind of just be hungry sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm. Is it the clock is still ticking like that?
I think so. It's just that, you create this debt every day. When you're when I was on the water for like 90 minutes every morning, you get this debt. So you get off the water and you can literally eat anything as long as there's good stuff in it, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, there's no mysteries about diet when you're training 6 hours a day. Like you have a normal meal, a healthy meal, and then you can literally eat whatever you need to in order to get another 5,000 calories. Because like people use all these like fancy powders and shit like that, but it's mostly just sugar and like milk protein. So you're basically just having like a fancy fucking milkshake.
Yeah.
And there's if you have like a Gatorade and an expensive protein shake, it's exactly the same as having a milkshake because it's just sugar and protein and carbs. And you can say, oh, but this has got like, beta alanine or fucking whatever, but it's really not that different. Like, so all the supplements in the world, I was not that conscious about what I ate. Like I was just kind of eat healthy and then I can eat whatever I want. But now I'm realizing, you can't have hamburgers every day. Like you can't eat like that.
Well, you can't, but you can still enjoy yourself. The same token, I indulge. And like I said, I was talking before the 80-20 rule. That 20% can be a vast 20% of eating a fucking whole pizza to yourself on a weekend or eating a hamburger.
Yeah,
Johnny
sure.
Cheat days?
I don't really, just 80-20, like, because I do it every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's just a time during the day that I'm going to have a muffin, or might even have a donut or a chocolate bar because I feel like it.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? I know I'm going to burn it off anyway, so it's like...
Yeah, as long as you do, right? And I mean, when you're training 2 hours a day, or if you're doing 2 a days, then you probably will.
Yeah.
But what I'm realizing is, like, I exercise for an hour or so a day, and not every day. Sometimes I do nothing. And
Same regimen that you would do when you were
no.
training?
I don't paddle anymore, really. It's especially not this time of year.
What about cardio and stuff?
Yeah, I run. I have a dog. I have a very active dog. I saw your dog,
Peaches.
Peaches is cute.
The guest house.
Yeah, Peaches is cute. I've got Cairo. Cairo's the
awesome
kind of dog that would like eat Peaches. He's
kind
like
of dog?
I don't know. He's from Egypt. He's a rescue.
What?
He's like he looks like a blonde husky or like a blonde shepherd with like long, kind of like shaggy.
That's pretty rad.
Yeah, he's a good looking
That
dog.
sounds weird.
He's a good looking dog. He's on my Instagram. That's at A
think I've seen it
Vancouverden.
before.
Yeah,
Hold on,
he's a
at-
cute A Vancouverden.
There we go.
My name. Yeah, you can check my dog out. It's mostly my dog.
So let's talk about the Olympics and the dark secrets that there's going on behind closed doors. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, sure. There's not a lot though, man.
Sex parties.
Yeah, let's go by the headlines that have come our way as citizens of Canada and what gets sent our way.
Yeah.
Aside from the obvious one we do
Well,
need
what
to
sells-
touch on about the whole Russian...
What sells magazines, right? Like what sells podcasts, like Sex,
Sensation.
Drugs, and Rock and Roll, right? So it's exactly sensation. You guys went to university or college? Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. Or like you went to high school
Yeah.
and you like went to parties.
Sports,
You went to you went to parties.
That's been parties
So
for
like
20 years.
what happens at parties? Like people drink and they have sex, right? So people are so shocked that it happens at the Olympics that people would like, these athletes are having sex. Like,
I think
I
it's the
think
fact
the-
that it might be hyperactive sex.
Or, no, I think it's because...
in the university, like
been
in
portrayed as
college,
such
like
a sterile environment. the Olympics. Do you know what I mean? It's like the cream of the cream.
But by who? Who says it's
The
sterile?
public. No, I'm just saying that's what you kind of get feedback. So
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of ridiculous, all the hype that was made about the most condoms, all the facts that were shot out. But
Nobody says there's free toothbrushes too. You can also get free deodorant.
there you go.
Like-
So that's why we're not talking about that.
More Q-tips given out than any fucking thing. Like, nobody cares, right? Oh, as soon as you say condom, people are like, condom, that means sex. That's not because people are using, like, if there's 10,000 athletes in the village and they give out 40,000 condoms, it's not because everybody has sex 4 times.
Well,
That's not what that means.
more-
And it actually
more
would be
times.
8 times because,
was gonna
you know what I
say,
mean?
Most of them not even wearing them at all.
No, but it's because people take them home. Like, I've got Olympic condoms at home.
Sweet. You didn't
Yeah, I
bring
should
us
have brought some. Obviously, it would have come up.
But you can't wear those
any?
expired
Is this your friend? What the
I'm not that old, man. 2016. How long does a condom last for? More than a year, I hope.
months, I think. No?
Don't know. Chad just never.
It's
Chad
right
just
between the three
never.
of us, we have no fucking
He
clue.
he has to restock every week,
Yeah,
Chad.
he's-
So
well, he
you
just
know.
changes them out in his wallet, right? 'Cause he's got that 8-pack.
Yeah.
He pulls one out, one a week,
Yeah.
changes it over.
I think Chad's
I get to
super
use this
stud.
week.
Chad's more of a 7-Eleven 3-pack guy, like every weekend.
And I get the dick pills from there too, just like fucking
How's the
Brian
drip?
Redpan.
How's the drip?
No drip, I'm clean. So, as we move along with this conversation,
Yeah, into the depths.
tell us more about what's going on, like stories about athletes that are on PEDs that you guys might know about that get tested by
You want
mass.
this? Yeah.
Because even if we go back to looking at when Ben Johnson got nailed for they're all on it. Actually, I heard that Carl Lewis tested positive as well too.
Yeah.
Back
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
all on it.
Yeah.
So what substantiates somebody? If we're gonna say like, if we want to go as far as what happened with the Russians now, to a smaller country or a Canadian that's not as funded politically like the Russians are, they can get away with it, but some people just can't get away with it. Like most Canadians, you could never get away with that.
Hold on,
With the
did you
Canadian-
watch the race, the Ben Johnson race? Were you old enough then?
Yeah, I mean, I was 6, but I've seen it. So
Such a
have you guys read Speed Trap?
No.
By Charlie Francis?
No.
All right, well, that's required reading for this
but
conversation.
Charlie Francis was on the Joe Rogan podcast talking about that.
Charlie Francis is dead. He died from a heart attack because he
How
did
long
lots
ago?
of steroids
How long
himself too. 5 years ago, I
Okay,
would
so it
say,
wasn't, I'm
but I don't
thinking.
know.
This might be the guy.
Just making up fake
Lance
news.
Armstrong guy.
Yeah, Lance Armstrong. Very similar.
I think Charlie Francis had maybe some input on some of the doping stuff that was going on with the guy. Remember the guy down in like San Diego or whatever that was helping like Marion Jones and that whole thing. I want to say his name was like
Did she say that she was on?
Marion Jones.
Yeah.
Marion Jones is in jail, or she just got out of jail recently because, it's because she lied. She perjured herself, right?
Yeah.
I think she perjured herself,
Was
which
in jail that long?
she went to jail for a while. We could look it up, but yeah, she went to jail, man. And I don't know if it was for perjury or for what, but like she got into some deep shit and it had a lot to do with performance enhancing drugs. You talk about
as well, though.
maybe I think talking about falling from grace though, like she was a darling. She was on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
That's
So
unfortunate that it gets to that point, though.
But see, that's the difference between what happens with her and the Russians have been doing it forever.
yeah, yes, you're right. And state sponsored, right? Since USSR days, and it's different.
Keyword
I said
state-sponsored,
I was on the Fan 590 yesterday morning, and I was talking about this and saying that as a lucky white guy from Oakville, I have a really difficult time judging somebody who comes from a completely different background. So say you're from some poor, small, rural town in Russia, and you're a pretty good weightlifter, and you start making it, and somebody offers you this because it's the only way you're ever going to succeed, and that's your cultural outlook.
Well, the
And-
mentors are telling them that.
of course, and the coaches and everybody, and so they end up doing drugs and they succeed and they get money for their family or whatever for the first time, and there's really no other options or opportunities. I have a really hard time judging that person. I dislike cheating, obviously, and I hate the cheaters, but I kind of reserve like moral judgment because
I like that
from them, not for fucking Lance Armstrong. He's a piece of shit. We came from the exact same background. Like, you're good at sport. Congratulations, you have a huge engine. Single mom, so that's the exact same situation. Actually, I always say this in talks. I say me and Lance Armstrong have two things in common. Both come from single mom households, and neither of us ever won the Tour de France. But, I just don't have any sympathy for him because he's just fucking greedy and he's a pathological liar. And it's a lot different. I can judge
That's
like
his
him
hustle, though,
because, yeah, sure, but we came from similar backgrounds. So at least I know where he's from, right? I just reserve judgment for like, like an Ethiopian guy, like, with no other opportunities, and he's a great runner, and somebody says, if you want to be an even better runner, then you have to take this, and then your family's all good. I don't know.
I guess it's
like my
mentor situation too, how you're brought up.
I was like top 5 in Canada, and I got a university education out of it, and then I was the best in Canada, then I got to go to the Olympics, and then, it's like, it's a good thing being an athlete in Canada. Yeah. It's very, very good. And it's also good because we got the Center for Ethics in Sport, and we've got people like Richard McLaren and Dick Pound who are world leaders in preventing that kind of shit from happening. Because if people are cheating, it's ruining the game. It's not fun. And some people will say like, oh, well, why doesn't everybody just take it? Why don't they just make it all legal? Because it's the same then as like the NFL. Like they make it all legal, and look, these guys are dying all of the time.
But there's no studies researching saying that steroids are killing these guys.
Well, if there's a lot of research.
Like Lalo Zado, he was a cokehead. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of these guys that have like pill problems that were dying from the pills.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
There's lots of reasons why guys from the NFL are committing suicide, and a lot of it has to do with concussions.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that everybody. I'm also not saying that everybody in the NFL is doing drugs at all. I'm just saying that it's not pro wrestling, and everybody in pro wrestling is doing drugs. So that's an easy thing.
We can all agree on what you're saying,
right?
For sure.
Right. It's just not fucking healthy. You're not going to convince me that taking a little bit of steroids every day is actually good for you. It's not. No. There may be ways that we don't know of to like enhance the human experience health wise.
TRT or whatever.
Whatever.
From a doctor or whatever have you for.
Taking
low T levels or whatever.
Or taking tiny amounts of human growth hormone when you're like, right? But no, steroids are not good for you. EPO is not good for you. They all make you like better for a time.
What's EPO?
It's erythropoietin. It's what makes your blood more oxygen friendly. So
is it like a different version of doping?
It's blood doping.
Okay.
It's blood doping. It's what endurance athletes do for blood doping, and that's
same thing with guys in UFC, boxing.
Yeah.
Anybody that's go distance, long distance.
Yeah, boxing is one of the highest VO2 sports. You need a really high VO2 max in order to be a successful boxer. So yeah, man, cheating's everywhere. It's not just in sport, right?
I was say it's pretty crazy that we could have this conversation starting off with your sport in specific, going for the Olympics, and go through all of these professional sports, and still have a running theme. You know what I mean? The drug use is a problem, and the craziness is that one of the drugs that could really help these people. And let's be honest, using CBD oil or using cannabis, which is non-addictive and does miraculous things for people for pain, especially athletes in specific, is completely banned, and they chase after.
No, it's not banned.
It's not banned?
It's not banned.
I thought
in Olympics,
THC.
No.
Really?
So IOC doesn't ban it, but USADA will ban it. USADA.
That's because the United States Anti-Doping Agency.
Yeah.
It's illegal in the United States and places in the United States, so it's part of their criminal code.
With the Olympics,
so
is
IOC,
legal.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not a substance that's tested for outside of competition.
Remember when Ross Bagliata got nailed?
Yeah, but he tested positive for marijuana. He kept his medal.
Yeah.
He kept his medal.
Yeah.
So it was just all the hype and the rigmarole.
It's a
moral.
It's also a very expensive test. So to do it for every single sample they acquire would be like such an incredible waste of money for something that's not even performance enhancing. And I mean, you can claim that CBD oil might be performance enhancing from like a medicinal perspective for recovery or whatever, but I don't know. I'd have to see like a good peer reviewed study on that.
That's pretty crazy.
And
they won't put. You know what? That won't
so.
come out until they synthesize it. Sorry,
synthesize.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
I think it might be having.
Otherwise, it's just a plant, right? It's hard to.
Yeah, it's a weed actually.
Yeah.
Which is even crazier. But staying all positive on it.
Yeah.
So your experience has been nothing but positive over the years. And for example, being in a place like the Olympic Village, what's that like to like someone who hasn't been in that environment?
Well, look, like the Olympic Village is a tiny little part of my experience, right? Like I went to 4 Olympics though, and I spent maybe 4 nights in the Olympic Village at all 4 Olympics. Like combined, maybe I spent 8 nights in the Olympic Village, and it's just like university. It's exactly the same as a campus. There's a cafeteria. It's massive. You can get anything you want. There's like games. It's pretty dry. There's almost no alcohol in the village. Like on the last few nights, they start like having events where they can bring alcohol in. But it's the sexiest thing, in the Olympic program. It's what everybody wants to talk about, but ultimately it's not even really that special compared to
What is the sexiness of the Olympics?
I think the athlete stories are way more interesting.
Yeah, I
You
agree
know,
with you.
I think that if people were willing to kind of do this, like have a long conversation with an athlete more often, they'd derive a little bit more something more interesting out of the whole thing than what just gets speculated on and written about. When it's kind of lazy journalism,
Yeah,
like
for sure.
not chasing somebody down and
Well,
talking
those
to them.
stories that you see when like CBC will do, or even in the States when they broadcast the Olympics,
2020 or whatever have you.
yeah, they're always it's almost better than the actual finals of the competition, and how
Yeah.
amazing they are and the achievements that are had,
Yeah.
just to get to know each other. Obviously, they're telling you the story for an emotional investment, but it's pretty crazy. Like what athletes in general go through to get to where they want to be, right? Is on that podium.
Yeah, athletes all have their own story, and they're pretty remarkable, I think. Everybody's got a different one, and that's what's kind of interesting.
yours
Is there's no
is
straight
pretty
path.
amazing
There's
so
no
far.
straight path to get to the Olympics. Like,
Was there ever a time that you wanted to quit?
yeah, lots. Sure. I mean,
You just said, "Fuck this! I can't do this
yeah,
today."
man, it sucks. Training's hard.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was easy, then everybody would do it.
Right.
If it was easy, then everybody would get Olympic
There's
medal.
not one session that you went through like that was awesome today.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
oh,
it's
yeah,
always
tons of
awesome.
them.
It's always
No, no.
awesome what you're getting.
Majority of my sessions, I was stoked. Like
Exhilarated.
minute 1 to minute 100, I was stoked for 80% of the sessions that I did, and some of them really sucked, and some of them were really, really hard, and I wanted to give up. But and some of them I did give up. Like there was days where I just got off the water because it wasn't working for me. But like not typical.
Yeah.
I'm just not the type of athlete that wants to sound like I was like so perfect. Like Michael Phelps said he didn't take a day off for like 8 years. Like fuck you didn't take a day off for 8 years. There's no way, man. What does that mean? That you like on your off days you stretched, you went for an easy jog or something? Like in my books, that's a day off.
Yeah.
So you weren't like bedridden for a whole day. Like how can an athlete that requires a swimming pool, and he's also got like obligations with sponsors and like travel
Time to
and
book you in that pool.
yeah.
Seems like you like to party.
Yeah, you also
like
like to
just
party.
all around
No
the
days
party.
off for 8 years. Like, I don't know. 10,000 calories a day? Bullshit. There's no way. You don't need that much.
So what are you saying? 10,000 calories a day.
Hold on,
You know how
let's
much
put
food that
in
is?
perspective. How
That's a
much
lot.
food is that?
I don't know. It's like,
a lot.
Oh, wait
it's
a
like
sec. No, it's
That's a
not that
lot.
much. Like one
Yes, it is.
cheeseburger is what?
500. It's like 20 cheeseburgers a day.
That's a lot of fucking cheeseburgers.
That's a lot.
Pardon my English.
But
But he's got to mix and match with whatever he's mixing and matching with proteins.
But
fats.
even if you're even if like a large
10,000.
male athlete does 1 hour of strenuous aerobic physical activity, then he will burn 1,000 calories.
Yeah,
and
in an
that
hour.
same in an hour, 1 hour. And that same man, his like resting metabolic rate will require like 3,000 calories throughout the day, say. So 2 hours of physical activity plus 3 hours, that's 5,000 calories.
Right.
So in order to go above and beyond that, to get 5,000 more calories, Michael Phelps is going to train for 5 more hours. So you're going to tell me that the guy swims for 7 hours every single day? It's a lot.
Out of 24, that's pretty extreme.
Glamorized.
But then
A little
again,
bit.
He was pretty successful.
EPO.
I don't know. No, he never tested positive. There's no reason to suspect
Did
him.
Michael Phelps get away with it?
There's no.
Like, I mean, I'm just
I have
kind of
no
like
reason
looking
to
behind the
suspect.
covers between what's going on.
I have no reason to
Justin
suspect him.
Gatlin's been tested so many times, but he's now a world champion. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Like, how does that happen? He should be gone after the first 2 tests. He should never be able to come back again. He's been tested 3 times, failed 3 times. Am I correct?
No, I think
Twice.
Justin Gatlin failed twice.
Twice.
But the
Twice.
reason one of them was chucked out because it was like Ritalin or something like that, and then the other one was he claimed that it was in a cream, right? It was like a steroid cream.
I
So.
believe that.
Yeah.
And then there was one that was like, there's another guy that was taking it for like his balding medication or something. So that's the other thing. If everything that you put into your body is scrutinized for like 2 decades, then I'm sure that you'll have a positive test. Like if I provided all of my urine for 20 years when I was on the national team for 19 years. If every single drop of my urine for that entire period of time was tested, then I guarantee I would have a positive test at some point from some like inadvertent
Yeah, being around
whatever, or like I never took anything to
Or a
cheat.
glass that wasn't clean for some reason.
Or like a cold medication, or like a neocitrin, or like you took
That's true, 'cause it has ephedrine in it.
you took like the wrong kind of flu medication or Tylenol, cold and flu. I couldn't take that. I could only take regular Tylenol or whatever it is. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
But you get a protein shake at the bar and they put like this shitty GNC protein powder in it that's like made in China, and it
this
turns
is
out it's got
made in
some
China,
nandrolone
yeah.
in it or whatever, right?
Yeah.
You just don't know. Like and
Well, you see that happen
So
with
this-
the UFC guys as well.
Yeah.
well,
A lot.
They're under the scrutiny of USADA as well, though, right?
Oh yeah,
USADA, yeah.
They don't get drug tested very often, to be honest. They're
like
not.
you guys.
No, not like us, not even close. And they're really only starting to drug test UFC and CrossFit athletes in competition.
CrossFit,
And-
too?
Yeah.
Yeah, CrossFit. That's riddled.
Crazy. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
It's not my world, so I never would have thought.
sorry, I've been to 4 Olympics.
Dude,
People don't look like that from
No,
just training.
For sure not.
People don't just look like that because I train hard.
I've seen a couple of
That's so
like,
true,
pro CrossFit.
I trained
if you wanna
hard.
Call it, and like, man, I don't understand how people can look like that and do that at that weight for that period of time without having to be on something.
So you're saying
And
carrying
recoup-
that amount of weight?
Yeah, and then with the recuperation because they're consistently doing it.
They don't take
You know what I
time
mean?
off
They
and
don't take
whatever.
time off.
Then again, genetics is it's quite an
Yeah,
extreme thing.
Yeah, but I guarantee there's some good genetics in the Olympics.
Oh, absolutely.
And I just you don't see people walking around that have like traps up to their ears and they can do 40 chin-ups.
and glutes and quads like.
Yeah.
They're running-
But anyway, whatever. CrossFit's hilarious. It's a fun thing to watch, but like, yeah, they should all get drug tested. If you're going to get money for it, if there's going to be competitions where they give you money for winning and it's going to be on fucking television, then there should be drug testing. Otherwise, it's completely illegitimate, or just call it WWE.
Yeah,
Right, entertainment.
absolutely right.
That's fair enough. That's very fair.
It's not good. Then they all should have to sign a waiver and say, I know that I'll probably die from this.
Yeah.
That's extreme.
Well, they will. Look at like poor Bret Hart, like Bret Hart's.
Boy.
Yeah,
Calgary.
yeah, but he's going through so much right now, man. Just because he devoted his life to
It's pretty
to
insane.
pro wrestling.
It's
Same thing with
pretty
Ric Flair.
insane.
Ric Flair's story is pretty crazy too.
All those
Did you
guys,
watch
man.
that?
Yeah, man, that was
Third was
crazy.
that 30 for 30?
30 for 30, yeah.
I haven't
That's
seen
a
his.
great one. It's
Yeah?
really good, man. Like, wow.
It's supposed to be one of the
Wow.
best ones.
Yeah.
Ric
for
Flair,
sure.
huh? But all those guys are toast, eh? Like, is the Ultimate Warrior? He died a couple of years ago, right?
Well, you saw the one.
And then
who's the guy that
Randy
was on
Man,
crack? Oh,
Macho Man,
Jake the
Randy
Snake.
Savage, Jake the Snake.
Jake the
Yeah.
Snake.
But these
was on
guys
crack.
these guys party too hard too, though, right?
Yeah.
But I
They
think they're
also
all a lot
the
of them are on
painkillers,
steroids.
though, right?
They're also like doing backflips off the top ropes and like landing on tables
That's
all
what
the
I'm saying.
time.
So they
It's
get
crazy.
hooked on the painkillers.
Yeah,
You're not gonna feel
And
shit.
then migrate from there to
yeah.
other things.
Perks, oxys.
I'm sure Oxy
Whatever.
said. Speaking of which, did you guys? Do you know anybody who got caught up without naming names as a result of being injured?
With
in that
painkillers?
one?
No,
yeah, because
not
it
really.
was pretty incredible how those were just flying out every doctor's door, and they turned out to be such a crazy addictive.
Yeah,
Like just average Joes who are like doing roofing to
yeah.
lawyers, like
Uh-huh.
have lost a lot as a result of that.
Yeah, I mean, my only experience with that drug is I had ankle surgery. I broke my ankle on a raft in the Grand Canyon. I got flown home, did surgery and everything, and they put
Hold
like
on,
3
you were on
screws.
a raft in the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
You sound surprised you broke your ankle. You're lucky you didn't die rafting
No,
through the Grand Canyon.
everybody does that, man. It's
Really?
not like it's like level 2 rapids or something.
I thought
There's
there was like
nothing.
insane rapids in there.
Probably at some point, but we're not doing those in the kind of yeah.
So I'm going down this road so you can insert your story here.
Yeah, it wasn't intense rapids. I was jumping between the 2 rafts. We were having a water fight. We were just having fun, and I broke my ankle. And
Damn you, having fun.
yeah, exactly, right in mid-season. So I broke my ankle, flew home, and the World Championships are in like 12 weeks. So they put a bunch of screws in it and a good plate. The doc did a great job. They're still there, and I ran that half marathon a couple weeks ago with no pain or whatever. That was, I mean, had surgery like 8 years ago, so thankfully it's not an issue anymore. But the reason I'm telling the story is because when I left, my girlfriend at the time picked me up from the hospital and drove me home, and I got a couple of movies from there's like a literal movie. Like, remember a Hollywood Video on King Street? Yeah, I got like 3 movies from there on my crutches and went upstairs with the DVDs,
Yeah, I was just
like
gonna say,
stuck them into my PlayStation and like watched a couple of movies. And I don't remember what movies they were. I don't remember anything about that night because I took some of that OxyContin or whatever it was, right? And Percocet or Tylenol 3 or whatever. And just conked me out. And I remember taking a few of them and just going like, wow, this drug is like for real.
Yeah.
And my pain is gone, and I still feel pretty good. And they discharged me with 50 of them.
Whoa.
50. I took 3, and I asked them if they could bring them back. I was like, I can't take these anymore.
Yeah.
Not because they're like too good and I love it, but just like I don't need this in my life. Like I'll just deal with the pain instead. Advil's
Makes
fine.
you feel weird.
Yeah, it is a weird
I
one.
had some in the side throughout my back.
Yeah.
Pretty bad. L3, 4, 5. Full sciatic nerve. And then I was given a few of them. I took 3. And they were low dosage. I think they were 20 milligrams. Anyways, doesn't matter. But after three of those, there's no way in hell I don't know how people function on those things.
No.
And I definitely had the same experience you did, where I was just like, I'll just CBD and Advil
Yeah.
to fight through this, even
Hot,
though you
cold
cannot
press.
feel anything. But yeah, just like, did you not notice that you just felt completely numb?
Yeah, totally. It wasn't a good experience. Just get off that stuff.
So tell me, about the, I had a question I wanted to ask you about the experience in winning medals.
Uh-huh.
What's that like? You know, the average person's never going to win a medal in their life, right?
Well, it's because they're average, right? Like, I mean,
You got zinged there, sucker.
but that's true. Like, you know, if you win a medal in something,
Hypothetically. Never.
yeah.
Not
I
even
mean,
hypothetically, realistically.
but I was average. I'm average in absolutely every way other than in kayaking. And in kayaking, I was a member of the 0.0001% because I worked that hard, and not that many people wanted to work that hard in the kayak. Like, I paddled 5,000 kilometers a year. I've paddled around the earth 2.5 times, like on the equator in my kayak, and like 110,000 kilometers in my life, and like it shouldn't actually even come to a surprise that people, you know, get that good at stuff when they practice every single day. Like, I practice with intention every single day. A lot of people just go down, they go through the motions, and they enjoy their lifestyle, and they enjoy the sense of purpose they get out of it. But I went down like on a mission, problem solving every single day to try to be the best. Because, like, well, this isn't done yet. I was only second last year, still not the best.
Yeah.
So the experience was gratifying. The experience in winning medals was gratifying, but it was more of a, after the amount of work that I did to get there, it was more of a relief than anything else.
All this for a reason.
Well, it wasn't just about winning either, right? I take a lot more out of my experience than just I got to be the best in the world a couple of times. It was about knowing that I could work hard and accomplish something that I put my mind to, but it was also a lot about the whole experience, like meeting people and forming relationships and bonds with people that are doing the same thing. And you know, I have a friend in almost every country in the world.
I was going to say, you must have a lot of friends. You're a pretty outgoing, easygoing guy.
Yeah,
From my
no,
interaction with you, I can see how that would translate pretty well.
well, when you spend time on the water with somebody and you bleed together in a race and you cross the finish line first and second, suffice to say that you're going to be friends forever.
Yeah, right.
You know, like in my sport, at least. I think in a lot of other sports, those guys hate each other, but in my sport, you accomplish it. You think of it like a race that you created together. And when two people cross the finish line, first and second, or second and third, or whatever, you kind of look over at the guy and you're like, oh, well, thanks, because I probably wouldn't have gone that fast if you weren't right next to me.
Right,
pushing
right.
each other.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So at one point, were you dominating, or was it a back and forth as far as?
Yeah, it was always a back and forth. I always had lots of other guys to race against, and the thing I like about our sport is that there's no best in the world. There's nobody who's the best in the world. There's a couple people who are in the conversation at any given time, but there's nobody who's like unequivocally the best in the world. I had a
Nobody's
streak.
dominating it completely.
No, I had a good streak in World Cup wins. I think I won all the 500 K1 races, the World Cups between 2005, 6, 7, and 8.
That's a
But
good streak.
but I didn't win all the world championships in between. There was a lot of other races that I didn't win in between. But you know, there was a period of time when I had a really, really good streak going, and then a couple other wins on either end of that streak. But yeah, I'm proud of it, man. It's something that I look back on. I always look back on as a period of like pride in my life and the validation of a lot of hard work.
So what's the path to get to the Olympics in that sport?
Just grinding. You just work.
Like, is there qualifying?
Yeah, I told you earlier, right? You got to go, like, from my club, you start
It's still
racing
that
at your
same
club,
path,
and
so I
you...
didn't know if it went from nationals beyond.
Yeah, it does. So you know, I'd race at the WODs, and then you make nationals, and you win a couple of nationals medals, and then you get into a group and a training group at your club or between a couple of clubs, and you know, the coaches start paying a little bit more attention to you, or you pay for extra coaching, or you seek out, you know, more attention where you can get it. And you go to a few more training camps, and then instead of 2,000 kilometers, you paddle 4,000 kilometers that year, and then you manage to stay on the water all through February and November because you're off somewhere, and you paddle 5,000 kilometers that year, and lo and behold, the next year you're racing against the older guys or the best guys in Canada. And then I went to my first national team trials in like 1999 just to qualify for the Junior Worlds. I qualified at the Junior Worlds and qualified for the senior national team, and then the next year I tried out for my first Olympics around Sydney. I didn't qualify for Sydney because I was like second or third, and then 4 more years I won the Olympic trials for Athens and went to the Olympics in Athens. So
how quick does
lots
that
of
4 years
races.
go between?
Oh, slow, man. There was a world championship every year. I went to World Cups in and France and Denmark and Poland and Germany and Hungary and Spain and Portugal, Czech Republic, Gainesville, Georgia, Sweden, Norway, Great Britain, all over the world in that period of time. World Championship in 2001 was in Poland, 2002 was in Spain, 2003 was in Georgia, and then all of those races culminated in being prepared for and qualifying for the 2004 Athens Olympics. And I did that by qualifying at the previous year's World Championship in 2003. But then 2016 was a lot more complicated, surprisingly. I wasn't pre-qualified for my fourth Olympics. I didn't qualify the 2015 World Championships because I raced K4 with 3 other guys from Canada. We didn't qualify. So when it came to qualify for the Rio Olympics, I had to go to Australia first. I had to win the Australian Nationals and win Kiwi Nationals in New Zealand. And then I came home. And that was just to basically satisfy my funding and the Canoe Kayak Canada's, they could rationalize paying for my training camp. And then I came home and I won the Canadian national team trials. And then I won North Americans. And I won North and South America. Argentina was second at that race. And that meant I was qualified for the Olympics as Canada, but that I wasn't necessarily going yet. I had to win another set of national team trials, which was best 2 out of 3. So I had to win 2 races in a row. And then I had to go to race a couple World Cups. I had to race 2 or 3 2 World Cups that year in Europe. And then finally after those 2 World Cups, my standing was good enough and qualified for the Rio Olympics. So it was over the course of 4 or 5, 6 months. That started in December 2016. I looked at my Facebook memories the other day, and there's this race that I did in Adelaide, South Australia in 2015. 2015 and
last year was Rio, right? Okay.
Yeah, 16. So this was December 2015. I won that Australian race, and that was sort of the first race that I won on the pathway to get to the.
So when they say the road to the Olympics, which is pretty much what they say on TV,
you have to race and not lose.
Road to the Olympics.
But don't lose. You will lose. Somebody else just won. They're moving on, not you.
It's pretty amazing,
because
we're pretty pedestrian. When it comes to how the Olympics work on that level. That's why I was asking at my own personal.
And it's only for the best people. Only for the best,
absolutely.
Not people. Only for the best kayakers, only for the best runners, only for the best swimmers, whatever. And they're not the best people. Some of us are shit. I have shit days, right?
They're athletes on the highest level.
On the highest level.
So if anyone ever doubted it, this is.
Why would they doubt it? What do they think is the best? CrossFit?
I have no idea.
Maybe it's just
People
CrossFit.
think we can't control.
I like CrossFit. I go to the CrossFit gym. Those guys are fit, but fuck, get on the wrong machine, buddy. I'll show you.
Ergometer.
Yeah.
I've grown up. I was telling him earlier. I've grown up with one in my house.
I could do 30 minutes.
13 or 14.
I don't want to do 30.
You could do 30 minutes on the wrong machine.
I could, but I don't.
You can play soccer you just don't want to. It's boring.
Yeah.
It's very boring.
It's very. I think for me, the aspect of it is very mental in the mind.
Yeah.
Because each row has to be perfect, and if you lose that flow, putting in more effort just to go forward.
I like that though.
You know what I mean?
I like that experience. I like that it's continuous and methodical.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's in it for the future?
Oh man, I don't like the word
35-year-old tired man, old man now.
I don't like the word retired. I prefer to say that I quit kayaking. I moved on to other things.
Okay.
Because there's still a lot more in my life that I want to achieve, and I'm not ready just to say retired. Retired means
you're done. You're gone to pasture.
Exactly. I'm not doing that. I'm prepared for new challenges. I'm doing a little bit of broadcasting work right now. I'm raising money for a great charity called WaterAid.
Yeah. What's .com?
WaterAid.com, WaterAid.org actually, but I'm going to post a link possibly on your Instagram or wherever this is posted so people can donate some money if you want.
Absolutely.
Raising money to build new gravity-fed wells in Africa because there's a lot of communities that don't have access to clean water and sanitation. Yeah. And this great charity called WaterAid is doing amazing things to ensure that people have access to clean water and sanitation, which is a human right. It's absolutely a human right. And just because we live in Toronto, you can turn the tap on and it comes out well chlorinated and healthy and whatever. There's fluoride in our water that makes it healthier for our teeth. That's pretty lucky, right? I don't know. That's a whatever. Yeah. Whatever it is, right? I trust. There's no reason in my life that I got to distrust that. And that's what I'm saying. You can live confidently that our society is going to take care of us. You find out that you have the flu tomorrow, you're going to go to a good hospital and they're going to take care of you.
Absolutely.
You walk across the street, get hit by a streetcar, you're probably good for the rest of your life if they would. Yeah. No, right. Even in Toronto's great. Even if you get too drunk, somebody's going to probably help you.
Yeah, put you in a cab at least.
Yeah, and there's a lot of cities people.
I've paid for someone's cab before. It's just too messed up.
Yeah, don't
sure.
20, take them.
Yeah, just get out.
Yep.
Yeah.
that's the society we live in, right? We take care of each other, and there's no difference between our society here or somewhere in Madagascar or Tanzania and Ethiopia where they don't have enough to contribute. And there's not just somebody standing there on the street corner that can go, here's the 20, get what you need. But we're here all the way over here, and there's the technology to look at what life's like there. And I can tell you firsthand, I went a bunch of times last year. It's not that good, and we can help. $20, it's like nothing for us, big deal. It's not going to change your life if you lose your wallet. You lose all the money in your wallet, it'll suck.
You recover.
You spend a day going to get a new credit card, new license, and the $50 or whatever, it's good, it's fine. You're going to live, right? But that $50 can create water security for 10 families, and that's like a huge, huge thing for people's lives. These women walk for 5 hours a day, every single day.
Was it Justin Wren?
Yeah, Justin Wren's doing it too as well. Yeah,
he's been doing it for a long time.
Who's Justin Wren? I recognize his name.
So Justin Wren's a UFC fighter, but he does a little bit more than just that. I think he's very involved in his community right now, and he's just doing some amazing things.
Yeah, they're digging wells. So what he would do is go over and show them how to dig the wells.
Why does he know how to dig wells?
He's been doing it for years.
Yeah,
he actually goes and gets right into the grid of things.
I can't speak full knowledge of exactly what he does.
Because it's been 2 years
but you
now
can look
since
up
he's
his
been
name.
talking about traveling over.
Longer than that, for years.
That's cool.
I think when I first heard about him 2 years ago, he's been doing
It's a clean water project that he's working on.
I think the best part of WaterAid is they use a lot of local workers, right? So they empower people with the knowledge and the ability to take care of these, facilities. Because what could happen if a crew just flies in and installs it, and then in 6 weeks it's busted? Somebody gonna fly in from Germany and fix it?
The tribe comes over that are jealous.
Plus, you got to remember, as men, you take pride in what you do.
For sure.
And gain that knowledge and be able to take care of it. They're going to have pride in it. They're not going to, it's not going to be, they're going to take care of the area. There's no way there's going to be seepage if they're aware of what happens if you...
dumping gasoline next to a source or something like that. No.
In the wrong area.
Yeah, you got to take pride in it for sure. And there's more pride if you build it yourself. Yeah. That's why I'm kind of like a little bit suspicious about these charity groups. They're like, we're flying to, Tanzania or Nicaragua or whatever to build a school or a hospital or something like that. It's like, that's nice, but like you should just give the money that it cost you to fly over there and hire local people to build it. Yeah, because then guess what? You just paid some workers. That's a big part of it, man. There's no employment over there.
And they appreciate it, obviously.
Yeah, but there's unemployed. Can you imagine like an unemployed worker watching some white people build a church in his community? Yeah. Like, oh, thanks a lot, guys. This is a nice place for your vacation.
That's great. You built me a church.
I can build a church better than you. It's actually my job. Yeah. And you guys are like, bankers, lawyers, and opticians in Toronto, and you're just coming down here for vacation. So you put this on your Instagram. It looks like you're a fucking saint.
Yeah.
Whatever. There's these like really interesting five questions to ask yourself before you go and do like charity work abroad. And one of the best ones is, if you couldn't bring your phone, would you still go?
Absolutely. For sure. 100%.
Most people would say like, yeah, of course I would. Of fucking course I would.
Fuck that phone shit, man.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people would say, of course I would, but it's different. Like people go because they would go still, but it would change the reason you go. Yeah. And it would change your mentality when you're there. Yeah. And it would change how you communicate to others that you went and why you went.
Does. When he goes, he leaves his phone. You don't see nothing from him. He doesn't post nothing. He doesn't talk about it either.
Yeah.
It's like, if you want to go, you're more than welcome to come with me. It's 3 weeks. It's not easy. You're shitting in a fucking hole.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You eat well. You get to learn. You meet good people. But like,
where's he going?
Somewhere in Africa. Zambia, Zimbabwe. No, what's poor? Zambia.
They're all poor, man.
One of them on the on the west.
Yeah.
West side of Africa, near Kenya, somewhere near Kenya. Mm-hmm. But he goes every like 3 years, and you don't hear from him. Yeah. He doesn't post. I've never seen a picture once. It was like, it's not for me to say that I'm being like a saint. Cool. I just like doing it, man, and like the shit that I've learned and what I see will change your life.
No doubt.
Right?
No doubt.
It's pretty easy to get caught up in materialistic things.
Oh, no doubt, for sure. Now and identity and like what we're made of these days and like what we think is important.
It's scary.
Yeah.
It's very scary.
Yeah.
What it's coming to. So listen, I got to get out of here, guys.
Yeah, me too.
I got to bounce.
Great chat, though.
.coms, websites, give us all
What's
that
your
information.
My social medias.
Before we go, I think you guys touched on it. I had to do a washer break there. What charities do you work with, or are you?
Yeah, right now I work with a lot.
You sound
I work
like
with.
you're pretty passionate about it. So there's got.
I don't want to say that I work with a lot. I work with a few, but the most important one that I'm working with right now is WaterAid, wateraid.org. There's a Canadian website there. I think it's wateraid.org/ca or something like that. But we're climbing Kilimanjaro in March to raise a little bit of awareness and some money. And the people that are climbing with me, I'm like the captain of the team or whatever.
Do people sponsor you, or do they sponsor?
Yeah, you can sponsor me. The Give website is on my social media, or will be. My Twitter is @VanKayak, and my Instagram is @AVanCoeverden. And
his full spelling of his name will be in the description of the podcast.
yeah, Vancouverden's easy. It's KOE instead of COUVERDN. It's easy. You say it like the city.
Okay.
Yeah, just like
I
that.
was just like, oh, letters.
I got it though. I know how to spell your last name though.
And we'll
Yeah.
put links in the description as well.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, but if you're interested in if
Well,
you're interested in figuring out, then just Google me and find the social media link. It's easy. It'll be on
So
my
is that
Twitter.
the only one you're working with? Or
No, I work a lot
locally.
Yeah, I work with MLSE Foundation, with Launchpad. That's like a local community sport organization. With MLSE though, that's Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment. They built this amazing facility in Regent Park. I think it's Regent Park. It's like sort of halfway between
that's
Regent and
brand
Moss
new.
Park. It's right at
Basketball court?
Dundas. Yeah, it's 3 basketball courts. It's like indoor. Yeah, it's 20,000 square feet.
That's huge.
It's incredible. And that's right in the heart of it, in like inner city Toronto.
area,
Yeah. There's lots of community housing that's in the ground floor of a community housing building. And like I said, I grew up in community housing. There's no organized sport at my co-op though, right? It was just like a basketball hoop and like us playing 21 or whatever.
Ways to give back locally through this organization.
Yeah, MLSE Foundation is awesome, and I worked with them all summer. I did like a mentorship program on Mondays. We did like a panel with 2 other leaders in sport or the community or whatever. We talked about different personal development skills and attributes with the young leaders that were then implementing the sport programming for over 2,000 youth in the area. So MLSE Foundation started Launchpad, which is awesome, and it's actually a free to access sport facility for local youth. So it's awesome. And there's more than just sport going on too. There's like a teaching kitchen and a yoga studio and like all these classrooms and stuff.
community.
Yeah, it's awesome. MLSE does great things. And then beyond that, I work with Parkinson's with my dad. Parkinson's Canada is a good organization. My dad has Parkinson's, so we do the Parkinson's Super Walk every year, and he organizes it in Peterborough. They raised like $50,000 or $60,000 this year, so that was cool. And still work with Right to Play as much as I can, and do a lot of school visits, talk to kids, and go down to the canoe club and paddle with young athletes and stuff. Keep
So
busy.
do you have any like personal social time?
Yeah, man, lots.
What do you like to do in your spare time? Quick, top 3 things.
I like running in the woods. That's my favorite thing to do. That's like my church. I try and go at least once a week and like just run around the woods with my dog on a trail, like 10, 12K or whatever. I like eating food. Lots of different food. I like eating good food. I like making food. I bake.
Oh, nice.
I bake bread. I bake bagels. I bake
From
cookies.
scratch?
Yeah. I got a
Okay.
KitchenAid mixer.
Yeah.
I don't know, these are the things I like.
Whole grains.
Yeah, I like driving out to mills, like flour mills in Ontario. We got a couple of good ones like K2 and Arva, and I buy like 20 pounds or 30 pounds of flour at a time.
So you actually do some real baking.
Yeah, man.
You serious?
Should have brought you cookies. Sorry.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
My dad's the same way. So
It's Friday though, so there's nothing baked up because I do my baking on the weekend, and usually by Wednesday it's
Who eats
gone.
it, all you?
I give it away, or
give it
my
away.
girlfriend eats it. I eat it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I try not to eat a dozen cookies a week, but
That's a lot of food. So if someone's looking to run into you, because you're a pretty cordial guy,
Yeah.
those are some of the ways they can find you. Aside
Yeah.
from the social media.
yeah, I suppose.
Very
in the
personal
dog
guys.
park, probably. It's probably in the dog park. If we're gonna run into
Yeah.
each other, it's gonna be Trinity Bellwoods, probably.
That's a very good spot for
Yeah.
socializing.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for taking the time out of your
Yeah.
busy schedule.
My pleasure.
It
It's not
is
that busy.
Hey, by the way, Dad, did you know that Adam has a street named after him?
Shut up.
Yeah.
What,
He's
for
35.
reals?
Yeah, man, this fucking guy. Eh?
Where?
Oakville.
Whatever, it's no.
It's also Water Street. It's called Water Street. Still doesn't come up on Google Maps or anything, but there's
So
a
tell me
sign on
where.
Water Street. Water
That's
Street.
pretty awesome.
Downtown
Water
Oakville.
Street, Adam Van Koeverden underneath.
Yeah,
Like,
on top of it. It says Water Street, and then the sign says Adam Van Koeverden Street. Actually, there was an extra sign at the canoe club, and I meant to bring it home the other day. I wonder where I put it. I grabbed it at the canoe club. I was in the gym. I was doing some weights, and I grabbed it like I was going to put it in the car, and I guess I didn't put it in the car.
think
I was
you're
going to
the
hang it up in my
person to
garage.
take it. You should definitely put that in your front lawn.
Absolutely.
Garage. It's a garage thing, I think.
Is that big?
It's just a street sign size, but like I'm not putting that on my house or in my
Yeah, for
house.
sure.
Here's where he lives.
I'm sure. your
Yeah, exactly.
girlfriend will
Yeah,
have
yeah,
exactly.
yeah. Eggs on the windows.
I had to doubt that.
That's awesome. Well, this is Chad Cranstein from the City Podcast with
Steve Beeling and our special guest.
Adam Van Koeverden. Oh, we'll say it together.
Pretty much the definition of an athlete.
Absolutely.
A proud Canadian athlete, it seems, as well.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys. Yeah, I am
Cheers,
proud.
man.
We're very
thanks for
proud of
coming
that.
on, man.
All right.
Great chat.
We are signing off tonight, so everybody drink safe tonight. Be responsible or don't. Doesn't
Don't be
matter.
anything responsible.
Yeah.
Bye.